Hello, everybody. Welcome to Kiali's v2.29 introduction and our sprint demo for sprint 2609, which ended today. We release every 3 weeks, so you get one of these meetings every 3 weeks that you're free to attend. And the actual version 2.29 should be out by the following Monday. So on the 13th, it should be out and posted. Let's get into it. As usual, you can see the work that we did during the sprint. We handled a whole bunch of issues and PRs, almost 80 this sprint across the variety of repos. I'll point out that there's a new repo over here, Kiali AI Tools, where we're starting to accumulate the stuff that we're doing around agentic software development. It's kind of interesting if you want to check it out. And we've also made changes. We've made some updates to the documentation in Kiali.io, the OSSMC OpenShift console plugin, and of course, the main repo. So we'll start with some of the more major things that got accomplished in this sprint. I will hand over to Hike to talk about our improvements to the Istio Config page.
Yeah, thank you, Jay. So in the last sprint, we did a lot of improvements on Istio Config page. From technical perspective, we replaced the old react-jsx editor, and we replaced it with the new Monaco Editor. It comes with its own design, which is a bit different than the old editor. And as well as on the right side panel, we removed some information which was duplicated. All those tooltips with the validation messages are removed, and the validation message is directly after the validation code, and the duplicate information is not shown there anymore, and all the references are just coming before the help section. So that's it. Thank you, Jay.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, this is I think a really nice improvement to the UI because the config is obviously a critical component, and the validations that we apply to it are really important. So the interaction in this window is very important. So hopefully people will find the redesign easier to use, and it also makes our UI a little more consistent because I think we've been using Monaco in a couple of places, and so we had a variety of different look and feel, which is now very consistent. This is a really big one that we did around our whole front-end modernization epic, and I'll let Fernando talk about this one.
Thank you. Yeah, yes. As part of the Kiali front-end build modernization, we have replaced React scripts, was outdated and maintained for around 2 years. So there was a lot of security and dependency depth because it was not updated any of the dependencies of this library. Also, very outdated engine, and for example, with the new RsBuild tool, which is based in Rust, is much better performant. For example, the builds are 5 times faster, and also it just have a simpler configuration because it's just a plain configuration file instead of the hidden Webpack React scripts configuration, so it's easier to configure. And along with this build replacement, we have modernized the test because RsBuild has a whole tool of assets of tools. For example, for testing, instead of Jest, it provides a testing tool called Rstest, which is also based on Rust, and it's much more faster and performance. So taking advantage this, also we have replaced Enzyme with React testing library. And just noting that, for example, thanks to this React script replacement, we have been able to enable modern TypeScript compiler, which improves the final code compile. That's all for this feature.
Yeah, this has been a great effort, and it took quite a while as we had to also investigate, various alternatives for the direction we wanted to go. I'm really happy with what we ended up with here. From a development perspective, it's really nice to have the faster builds, and just from a modernization, it's great to have something that's much more up to date, and going forward should bring us for the next several years. Thank you, Fernando. And of course, 3 weeks is a long time in the AI world, so of course we've been making constant improvements here. We'll let Yasune talk about this one.
Thank you, Jay. So I'm going to talk about some of the work that we have been doing in the AI field. And we have enhanced the MCP tools by providing specific information for ambient mesh. And these improvements include the addition of a new tool, enrich information for some of the existing tools, and improvements also in the prompts. To avoid an increase in the token consumption when Istio is not installed with ambient profile, these tools are just added when ambient mesh is enabled. And this is because these definitions of the tools are included in the tools schema that are passed to the LLM and can penalize the token count. So they are not even relevant for the LLM. That can also confuse it, and that's the reason why they are disabled when we are not in ambient mesh. And these specific enhancements include this new tool, which is the Analyze Ambient Policies. This inspects the Istio configurations, classifies these configurations as layer 4 or layer 7, also is flagging where we have missing waypoints, and returns a per namespace summary to help the LLM to determine if something is missing in the namespace or for any policy to be applicable. To put an example, when a virtual service is going to filter traffic by HTTP paths, but the namespace doesn't have a waypoint proxy, the LLM should warn us that a waypoint proxy is missing for this configuration to take effect. The tool list or get resources now includes waypoint and cTunnel networking information when the namespace is enrolling ambient. The get mesh status tool is reporting now the cTunnel pod health. That can be very useful for troubleshooting, as the cTunnel is the main component of the ambient architecture. Another tool modified was the get mesh traffic graph that now is including ambient traffic rates to visualize ambient traffic and being able to filter the traffic as well. And this can be filtered by the reporter. If this is from cTunnel for the waypoint, it can be filtered by both, or it can also be excluded. And the last thing was the new prompts that had been added that can help us make use of these new tools or parameters, like, for example, to analyze the ambient traffic configuration when we are in the Istio config list, because these prompts are dynamic, and Kiali uses the page context and related to provide related prompts based on the page that we are. And I think that's all. Yay.
Yeah, that's a lot. Thanks, Yasune. I mean, as more and more people are either exploring or moving towards ambient mesh with Istio, I mean, this work is going to be really important for them. So thank you. And of course, we have a bunch of other things that we've been doing as well. I won't go through them all in detail, but there's, again, several more things in the AI space, including efforts to reduce tokens and other stuff around the chatbot. We've got some API improvement handling for callers of our API, which is also AI related, but also a cleanup for the UI. In code analysis, from the development side, we've upgraded ESLint We replaced the outdated ESLint config React app plugin. We got a community contribution, which added the Korean localization for Kiali. So starting with this version, 2.29, you can, if you know Korean, you will be able to set that as your localized version of the UI. We've been actually doing quite a lot of work around for OpenShift users, multi-cluster OpenShift users in the ACM space. We have a lot of work ongoing. We're not going to cover it in this sprint, but somewhere down the line. But as a result of that, we've already made some updates and clarifications in the Kiali.io doc, the existing documentation that around that stuff. So if you're having any issues, check out the updated docs. It might help you out. The Kiali 173 version is now basically retired from support. It was supporting OSSM version 2, which has also gone out of support. And we've also done some work in workload annotation. So a few versions back in the redesigned detail pages for workloads and other things, we added the ability to inspect and edit annotations. We realized that workloads actually needed a refinement there so that you could better handle template annotations for the controller. And that's going to be in this version as well. A couple important bug fixes, which I'll just let you kind of read through. One that I'll point out was in the graph. If you were using trace overlay, I think when we updated patternfly 6, we had a problem where you could have the overlay be too faint to actually see. That actually should be resolved, and you should get a very easy to see trace overlay in the graph with this version. And scanning down, a couple more important things. We made some changes in the validations, especially around 2 issues around false positives in validations that have been fixed up, so thank you for that. And I think that is the summary for this sprint and this 2.29 version. You can see the work that's in progress, or you can see what's on our sprint backlog by visiting our project board at GitHub Kiali Projects 67, which is basically a static board which doesn't go away. It just keeps getting updated. So you can always go here to see what's going on, or to potentially even pick up a piece of work if you want to contribute to the project. Thank you very much. You can always visit us at Istio Slack on the Kiali channel, or GitHub discussions. Or if you have an issue, you can always create an issue in GitHub issues. Thank you very much.